They have no eyes, yet they speak to him.
I'm ready for you.
The soul.
Save me.
Rudi's a restorer of souls.
This is great. I can see the colors on it. I can see that. I can feel it.
Doors began opening for this Saanich businessman after some soul-searching of his own, when a young Rudi learned that he couldn't outrun the bullies that tormented him.
My mother and father always told me never to fight. I just laughed at people when they started to spit on me or hit me or beat me in the schoolyard. And finally, yeah, okay, they'd leave me alone because I never fought back.
Rudi grew up an only child. German immigrants, his family called Canada home in 1953.
Growing up in Toronto in those years was tough. People, as soon as they heard I was German, all of a sudden associated me with the war and all the stuff that happened then, which really had nothing to do with me, but hey, kids are kids.
He lived in the slums, the city's garbage dump, his playground.
I started working as a kid for a hobby shop.
Instead of cash, the owner gave him model cars.
Here's the start of my journey. 300 SL Roadster and Gullwing slot cars. And they always had a driver that had a goatee and a beard. And I was so proud of what I was doing that I wanted to show the president of Mercedes Benz Canada. His name was Rainer Lange-Mecklin, and he was sitting there just sort of like taking this, smoking this cigarette and blowing smoke into the air and motioning me to come. Sit down, young man, just like this.
His cars were splendid, but young Rudi's ambition was even more impressive.
You know, he goes, young man, what would you like to do? I said, Mr. Lange-Mecklin, I'd like to be sitting where you're sitting.
It was in that moment that Rudi's lifelong journey with cars took off.
And he turned around to Mr. Scharf and he said, give this man a job.
For over 50 years, he's fixed, raced, and restored them.
23 300 SLs on the go here right now.
Rudi and company have been rebuilding all kinds of ultimate classics since 1971. He doesn't advertise.
It's all strictly word of mouth.
Clients seek out Rudi's soul-soothing artistry to breathe life back into their rare and valuable relics.
You have to have a 300 SL in your collection. That's sort of the cornerstone of your quintessential sports car.
95% come from overseas in various states of disrepair.
Burned to the ground, dropped in the ocean, chassis, frame, 90 boxes of parts.
A full restoration can take 2 years and usually costs between $300,000 and $500,000.
But that gives you a brand new old car back. That's proper and correct in all aspects.
The cars are stripped to the frame and carefully rebuilt. Over 20 artisans mold each of Rudi's boyhood models into revving reality. His youngest team members partnered with him over 20 years. Rudi's dream, their dream.
It's not just me, you know, it's about us. They're pieces of art. They're part of our history. And when you look at the shape, when you look at the way things were made, the engineering that went into them, this is something that we'll never ever see again. The coupe was made from 1954 to 1957, and the Roadster was made from 1957 to 1964.
Mercedes-Benz built roughly 3,200 300 SLs. Rudi's restored over 100 of them.
Blessed.
But this exquisitely crafted gullwing with its fitted leather suitcase is extremely rare.
20 years I've been trying to get the restoration on this car because I knew it was there.
The last of just 29 aluminum-bodied SLs ever made lay sleeping in a California barn.
40 years on blocks, and here was the Holy Grail.
The last one they did sold for $4.6 million.
This one that we just finished, we had an offer of $7 million from one of our clients in South Africa.
But Rudi says money's not his motivation.
Money happens to be there when you do a job well. But what does motivate me is the passion of the artistry, of doing something right.
At 65, Rudi's the last of the old guard. At the insistence of his long-gone Mercedes mentor, his objective now is to enlighten others.
Pass on the positive things that you can teach to a young person. And fill that with passion.
A passion forged by a lifetime of laughing in the face of adversity.
They've got my eyes now, and they see what I see.
Kinetic art, crafted by a man whose cars still speak to him.
You can feel it. You can smell it, you can hear it.
From the soul of a car begging for restoration. In Saanich, I'm Paul Beilstein.